Why do we bother with a recycling program when they cost more today? The most important thing is the bottom line, right? Wrong. While finances are important and they're easy to justify, they often ignore realistic issues in the future that cost less to fix now. While there are some good business models for recycling programs to ensure the success of them, the government will have to pay some money up front. And this is really hard to justify on today's budgets and the late economic crises. However, the cost of these programs will only increase later on, and the cost of fixing these damages that we do not fix now will certainly deal with more dangerous situations for our kids and future generations. If we take into account the growing population and the increase in waste that we have in Riverdale each day or each year, you will see that Riverdale will have to purchase additional land for a new landfill or ship our waste out of the county, both of which are way more costly solutions than a recycling program with 2 bins per house per week. Whether or not the citizens of Riverdale are directly affected by the increase in garbage today, they will be affected in the near future. So the need for a 2-bin recycling program is growing each year, and the failure to implement one will be dangerous for future generations of Riverdale. Today I'd like to talk to you about the need to create a curbside recycling program, how easy it will be to implement this program, and the benefits of the implementation versus the dangers of continuing to ignore the growing issues without this program. I'll begin by explaining the great need for a curbside recycling program in Riverdale. There's a real need to recycle as much as possible, and there's a great amount of recycled materials in Riverdale that are being thrown out into our landfill each and every day. The problem is that people are uneducated about the need for a recycling program. People in the United States throw away around 375 million tons of garbage every single year, but only 25% of this is actually recycled, according to the Economic Inquiry. Almost 54% of all household waste is actually recyclable material, which means 25% of all of our waste each year is going straight to landfills when they could be recycled. Clearly, we need to have some further education for our public, for our citizens, and for future generations. These type of programs, when we put out bins in front of each house, actually increase awareness and help save our planet, because more people are more aware of the recycling bin each day and will choose to throw it in the recycling bin rather than in the garbage can. Curbside recycling programs actually help increase the amount of recycled materials per household by about 9 pounds every single week, according to the Journal of Economic Perspectives. There's about 500 pounds of trash per household per year being recycled and not piled up in our landfills. This adds up extremely quickly. Now, we all love Dr. Seuss. We either have read his stories or we've read them to our children, and each one teaches us a valuable lesson. One in particular, called the Lorax, discusses a very possible future when the whole planet is filled up with smog and garbage because we chose not to recycle and not take care of our planet. The very last line of the book basically says, unless someone cares about this and does a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. I also have really good news for you. The program is going to be easier to implement today than it was 2 years ago when we voted it out. I've made contact with the Riverdale City Hallers, and they agreed to split the cost of the program with the government entities by 50-50. This is actually an increase of about 15% since last 2 years, and the taxpayers will only see about a 3% increase, which is very small, on their annual real estate tax. And I've also spoken to many community members about this program, and they are really passionate about helping out future generations and making sure that our kids are safe. In fact, many community members are actually really frustrated right now because they want to recycle, but they have to drive across town to a different plant to deliver their recyclable materials all on their own and make that happen. This is very difficult, and it obviously is not very economic in terms of getting the most amount of recyclable materials. So what will happen if you do not implement this program this year? Well, basically our kids and future citizens will end up cleaning up our mess because of the choices that we made. You may remember that just last year, a child was injured because of the lack of this kind of program. There was a lot of excess trash one week, and the garbage men were not able to take all of it. This, by the time the kids got out of school, a little boy was able to pick around in some trash and get injured by some sharp metal. He had to go to the emergency room and get stitches because of this. Now, if we had had a recycling program with 2 cans, not only would there be 2 trucks coming to get those 2 different cans, which would allow us to take more waste out of households each day, but that metal would have been recycled as well, which is really a double benefit when we think about the dangers of this to our kids. Um, each human actually roughly throws away about 5 pounds of garbage every single day, and that's according to the Ecological Economics uh, Journal. Doing the math, along with a population increase in our town each year, you can kind of figure out just about how quickly our landfill space will actually be filled up, which will produce more issues and more expenses when we have to purchase a whole nother plot of land for more landfill space. Um, the other option, of course, is shipping our garbage out of the county, which will also be extremely costly with the rising gas prices. So the decision to vote in a curbside recycling program seems pretty obvious. As you can all see, this 2 bin format will actually help our city avoid the growing problems each year. And a failure to implement this kind of program will make it more dangerous for our kids and for future generations. There's a great need to put in this program today so that it's less costly and so that we can prove that we are trying to do the best for our community um, before our kids grow up and realize that we have made mistakes. I'm grateful that you let me speak tonight on this important topic, and I just ask that you all very carefully consider the benefits of implementing this program and the dangers of not implementing this program when you go to vote this year for a recycling program. Thank you.